If we talk about what an application is and how we will be using these applications, then first thing that comes to our mind will be like there will be an application that will be running inside a 2D screen, and we will have to interact with it using touch screen, basically trackpad, or some other sort of input that is a physical input. But recently, Apple introduced Vision OS, their new spatial computing operating system that works on Vision Pro as of now. But if we consider what are the interaction input types for their application, these are your fingers, your eyes, and even at very like end we can say that we can use our mouse and keyboard. That but the main input for that Vision OS is our fingers and our eyes. Like basically we are doing gestures in air to interact with the operating system. So how can we develop these applications that we can use with our gestures, and we can have a complete immersion of that? Hey guys, I'm Apoor, and today I'm here to explore with you guys what Vision OS development looks like. And we will be starting with creating our first Vision OS app, and later on we will be adding 3D content to our app so that we can have complete immersion in it. So for developing Vision OS application, we will be needing first of all Apple Silicon Mac. Then we will be needing Xcode for developing the app. So if we open our Xcode, that version should be above 15, and we will be requiring one last thing, that is our simulator, because currently in India we don't have a Vision Pro as a retail option. So in Xcode we go to settings, and we will if we click on platforms, we have our Vision OS simulator over here, and we can like I have downloaded it as of now, but you can click on get, and this will download the simulator, and it's of around 6.8 GB, so it will take a bit. So you just download it and we get started with the app. So first of all, like if we start with Vision OS development, so what is the all the like in iOS and macOS we have view. So if we start, so now we start with Vision OS development. So in iOS and macOS, if we consider, we have views and windows for interact to like display data and information to user, and we can interact with them using our pointers and maybe touch screen. But in Vision OS, we are not only limited to these 2D sort of views, we can have our on 3D views, and we can use them to even completely immerse our user into the application. So how does it work is Apple provides windows, volumes, and spaces for our application in Vision OS. So what are windows? Basically, windows are the same thing that we have been using since like 20 to 30 years. These are just like this browser window, this Xcode window. So these are the 2D representation of our application, the 2D view of our application. And then comes our volume. So volume is something like if consider like this is a 2D plane. So anything that like just consider this bottle. If we use this bottle, so this bottle is a 3D object. Similarly, if we want to put a 3D object inside our Vision OS app, we would be requiring a volume, because a 3D object is not a 2D area. We need a volume. So volumes are just 3D objects that we can put in our applications. And then comes our spaces. So spaces are basically fully immersed sort of scenario. Like you have seen in videos of Vision Pro that people get immersed in somewhere on a mountain or a sea. There are various use cases for that as well, and we can use the spaces to like have different sort of vibe. Maybe we want to just show our user something about night sky, or we want to like give kids and some exploration on how space travel works and all. So there are various cases. So now the question arises, like for iOS and macOS development, we have SwiftUI and UI kit to develop applications. So what is the framework, or we can say what are the languages and frameworks we will be needing? So with Vision OS as well, we will be requiring only the Swift UI, because Vision OS is a Swift UI first platform. So we will be using Swift UI as our main development framework. But we will, like Apple has also ported some UI kit. Like Apple has given the support for UI kit views as well, because we would be requiring some more complex views that we want to develop, that are present in UI kit and as of now are not present in our Swift UI. Then we will be requiring Reality Kit. The Reality Kit is the Apple's library for developing 3D content and animation, 3D animations for various applications we are using. Then comes our AR kit. So we will be needing AR kit because we want to develop spatial computing app, and for that Apple Vision Pro just basically uses AR core for that, because it strongly depends on AR core, because if we need to put a window over here and we need to anchor it in that position only, then we need our AR and all those. Then the tools are like Xcode, Unit Xcode 15 that I have already told, and then we can use Reality Composer Pro. That's their app for creating 3D models and stuff. Like this can be considered like some sort of Figma sort of software for 3D apps by Apple. And we will not be using, like, going into this Reality Composer Pro or Unity. We can develop a 3D application for Vision OS without having much knowledge of these software, because they are just there for, like, if you want to develop them for our we want to develop objects for our application, and we want to put them according to our need. So here's that. So let's just start with the Vision OS development. So like like every app we develop in Xcode, we start with creating a new project. And in new project, we click on Vision OS, and from there we just click next. And now we have to put our product name. It's the similar process like we start a new iOS project, so iOS or macOS project. So if we will be naming our application as hello world, and we will be start putting our organization, like I have put test.geeks for geeks. This is just to like identify like what our app like identify our app within the app store, because there are multiple apps, then they can have similar names. So to identify a specific app, we use this organization identifier that is used to create our bundle identifier. As you can see here, our organization identifier is used to create our bundle identifier, where first is our organization identifier, then comes our product name. So this is how Apple App Store categorizes based on developer. So then comes our initial scene. So just like we discussed recently, Apple provides windows, volumes, and spaces for our apps in Vision OS. So we will be using initially Windows. So we will be having a basically frame within our view. So with start, so immersive space rendering. So this is like we want to use like Reality Kit to render, or like Metal. So Metal is also Apple's new graphic rendering engine, and this is also used to create amazing complex graphics. So we will be starting with like Reality Kit, and if we need a immersive space or not. So here's that. Now we start with the next, and we need to put our app somewhere. So I will put this here. Yes, I create the folder name and I create this app over here. So till now our app, the Xcode will just initialize our project, and we'll be starting with this application. So it's loading. Till then, we consider like exploring some documentation as well. Like, okay, so our Vision OS simulator, like preview view, is also booting now. Now, if we till then we go to like the documentation, so we have like we have developed application for iOS, Vision, Mac OS. They have a basically a design system in which we need to develop application provided by Apple, that's called human interface guidelines. So for Vision OS also they have like modified the human interface guidelines. So if we go to human interface guidelines for Vision OS, so designing for Vision OS, this will be our guideline for this will show our guideline for Vision OS application UI. I guess, yeah. So our app is now like live and running on our simulator. So we can run it over here, or even we can like put a click on run and the app will start on the simulator outside. And for better understanding, we will keep this canvas on. Just boot, let's just boot the simulator and just test it out on. So here we were talking about the Vision OS design interface. So Apple has provided a complete documentation like how we will be using and how we need to create application for our Vision OS application, the best practices we need to use. So there are various factors like if we consider these spatial audio. So Apple has basically said that we need to consider using glass as our basically materials that they recently introduced. So we need to consider glass as our base background for our application, because in dark there's no night mode or dark mode in our Vision OS app. It just basically reacts in just like a glass would react in a lighting condition. So with that, our application has booted. So if we go into full screen and we start playing with our app, so you can see that the app is locked in the space and we can move it here and there. And if you see, this is not a 2D hello world application, because see this is a 3D object, and you can see that it's above the 2D plane, so there is a sort of immersion in here. And when we click on this, the app becomes immersive and there's a pop-up. So this is how our pop-up will be there in Vision OS. So okay, if we click on OK, so now our app is in immersion mode, and we can see that we have a full immersion of our app. And if we go beyond this, and then we can see this, we have some 3D object behind the app and even in front of the app. So if we close the immersion, show immersion toggle again, so we will be back to our normal view. So this is like the application that we will be using. And there are various, we will be developing an application now with putting some 3D objects and interacting with them. So since it's a simulator, we need to have some different. So the thing that I was talking about, like dark mode and light mode, if we click on simulate, so we can simulate various environments. So if you see this object, like this window, this is currently now reflecting the background. Like the background is, we can see a bit of background, it's blurred basically. So if we click on daylight, it automatically switches to light mode, and we can have this light background and all. And when we move to our Like this is a ambient light, night light sort of scenario. And if we move all the way to complete night, like in museum, if we can see that it interacts with the dark mode and all. So we can use this to develop our application. Hope you like this introduction on Vison OS development. Next, we will be implementing a solar system within our application. So hit like, subscribe to this channel, and press the bell icon so that you stay tuned with the series. See you in the next video. Bye.